Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hello, my name is Jill and I am your certified hypnosis at Becoming Home Healing Co. And every week I like to shuffle the cards for the collective and check in with the energy of what we're experiencing. And as a hypnotherapist, as an intuitive, I hold space for people and I support people who are working through challenging emotions and patterns and behaviors most of the time. A lot of us want to feel good and want to feel better about ourselves, about our choices, about our direction in life. And I have the opportunity to support people experience relief and to come back to this regulated baseline so that you can move forward in your life with a sense of control and empowerment. The reality is that you're in control. And with every choice that you make, you exercise this element of control. And my hope for you is that you can continue to make choices from a calm and aware and compassionate place for yourself. And easier said than done, but that's why this work of hypnotherapy is so supportive, because it can help you create that safe space to work through your shit. And so you can feel better about how you want to move forward. And I use the cards. The tarot is my love language. I've been shuffling cards for, I don't know, like 14 years now. I do it a lot for myself. I do it for friends and family. I have clients around the world that I read tarot cards for as well. And I use it to offer you perspective so maybe you don't feel so alone. That is maybe the number one challenge that comes up in sessions with my clients on a weekly basis, of feeling really alone in their experience. And the point of these readings is to help us kind of come out of that limited belief, because while it is very real to feel that way, it is not true, because we are a part of this collective consciousness. We are a part of this web, this energetic web, and this global community of people. And we are having a very human experience, and we are all mirrors to each other in that experience. And I think so many of us are very much having a shared experience. We are feeling the same things, but we are all really good at keeping it internal and inside. And so I want to shed a light on that, especially in this time of so much heaviness. And the collective energy today and over the past while has felt heavy. And we're seeing a lot of political unrest. That's not necessarily something new, but it is at the forefront. And, I think for myself, I sometimes struggle with being political on any of my platforms, but I do believe that this work is political, especially the work with supporting and serving women and supporting people who feel disempowered. It's very much political, unfortunately. And I don't know. I want to set the intention that today, this reading is here to support those who feel marginalized, who feel targeted, who feel unsupported, who are in fear of their life, of their safety, of their security, and overall are grieving what we're witnessing and what we're experiencing. And I understand it and I feel it just as much. And when we perceive that we have no control, we have to remember and come back to the truth that we do have control, and it is within our own actions and our own mindset, in our own emotional experience. That is where we have influence and control. And when we are talking about standing up to injustice, when we are advocating for the well-being of others and ourselves and our communities, we have to ensure that we are also taking care of ourselves in this effort to resist or to rise and to bring conscious awareness into the collective. And so that's what this reading is for today, because it is just heavy. The week, even last week, felt really heavy. There's a lot of things changing and shifting. There's a lot of people afraid, a lot of people feeling stuck and hopeless, and there are a lot of people who are motivated and taking action, and maybe a lot of people on the in-between. But this message is for the Becoming Home Collective. Anyone that sees this video or is meant to watch it, stumbles across it, this is for you. This is to support you. A little bit of heart medicine for you so that you can navigate challenging times. So let's begin. It's such an interesting energy. at the bottom of the deck, and we are opening today with the Shamanic Medicine Oracle deck because it is one of my favorites, but also there is something here that is so very familiar and ancient about this energy here. We're talking about natural cycles here, and you can even notice that in the cycles that are upon us. Revolution, protest, unrest, change. That is not new to our social awareness. And so this is a natural rhythm that I feel is emerging. At the bottom of the deck, we have death, transmigration. There is a death here. And as I shuffle the cards, it's interesting because in my mind, as I was shuffling, I saw a figure laying down with a white sheet over it. So that to me elicits, a literal, representation of death. But also what the energy around that feels like is rest. It feels like this exhale. And it does feel peaceful to me. There is definitely a piece of this collective, whether you take that literally or figuratively, there is this call for this deep rest. There are people that cannot fight, but then there are also people that can. And it's interesting because I'm feeling this energy and feeling this collective energy today, and this, what I'm feeling in the cards already is this inhale, exhale. There's this inhale, there's this new energy that is being given, and then exhale. It's just, I guess, how you are using your exhale. Are you using your exhale to find peace and rest, ending a cycle? Are you using your exhale to express yourself, your voice, scream, music, speaking, using your voice? And many of us are being called to do that. And I'm also feeling for those who are, rest is also just as important as those who feel like they cannot, or those who feel like they need to be supported in this time. But there is absolutely a shift happening. There is a change. There is an ending that's here. Energy of the West, purge. Cycle is completing. And then we have rebirth, renewal. Death is at the bottom. Death and rebirth. This inhale, exhale is death. Rebirth is the inhale. There is definitely something new being born from all of this death. This is not an end. This is, well, it is the end of something, and it is a renewal of another. There's new life that is here, and this is an ancient wisdom. This is an ancient knowing. We have stone people and ancestors here. Wisdom and knowing. These are collective patterns that we continue to see, and there is great guidance and support of this, especially when we start to see, like, we can think about patterns on a personal level, right? We have behavioral patterns, we know where they come from. The more we see a pattern play out in our lives, the more we become conscious of why these patterns continue and how we want to show up differently. So maybe we can end some of these patterns that are not serving us. But this is also not only happening on an individual level, but a macro level, right? On a collective level. And what we are seeing play out today is very much a pattern. It is very much repeated. And there is definitely a growing conscious awareness of that. We're seeing the pattern. We have seen this before in different times, in different places, and it is going to happen, and there will be change, there will be rebirth here on a greater level. This is a natural cycle. We experience it as people, and we will experience it in a collective. We will experience it on a social, political level, and we are supported in this, but we are being asked to learn from it and use our wisdom and to show up consciously. If you feel like you don't know what to do, I do feel like there is benefit in meditation and prayer. That in itself is a form of activism, in my opinion, especially when you are looking for answers and how you can show up or how you can navigate this, how you can understand this time of change, because what we see on a social level is also a mirror back to us and what we are experiencing personally. So for yourself and there is benefit here to prayer, to pray and to ask for guidance and to notice the signs, but also to get some rest. And in your rest, in your sleep, be open to receiving messages and know that you have access to greater wisdom in that state. Even if it's in like a meditative or hypnotic state, you have access to information and wisdom that you might have a hard time hearing or seeing or feeling when you are dysregulated and when you're caught up in resistance, right? Accessibility, Dreamweaver is here. It's very much connected to ancestral wisdom and very much connected to this card of knowing, stone people, you see the faces. I mean, when I talk about patterns and fractals, I mean, you will see signs everywhere of this change and resistance. But this is a part of something greater, you know? This is almost inevitable, this change, this death, and so is the renewal, so is the new life. And so part of this is a question to you of, what will you do when you're being called to act? What will you say? Who will you become in the rebirth of your life? Who are you becoming? And if you can ask yourself that consciously about who you are becoming, who are you? What do you stand for? What do you value? How do you represent that in every way, in every part of your life? Notice how that is rippling through an entire collective, an entire country, an entire global collective of people asking the same question. And then notice how that influences and motivates them to act. And how does that mirror back to you? When you see people in resistance, protesting, when you see power dynamics shift, what does that bring up in you? What can you see in yourself? The energy around this is so hot. I can feel it in my ears right now. Hold on, let me connect. Yeah. There's a lot of anger in the collective. There's a lot of grief and a lot of rage. People are just tired of hurting. People are tired of being pushed down. People are tired of being defined as less than all that they are, to be marginalized. There is absolute rage under this, and it's grief and it's power surfacing, truly. This is a redistribution of power, but it burns like hell, man. And it's not bad. If you keep it in the body, I say this, I've said this before, but rage and anger, especially in women, is a sacred feeling. And so many of us, and not limited to women, but speaking from that experience, like, we suppress that rage and that anger. We play small, we do less to make others comfortable, to assimilate, to adjust to norms or expectations of others and those who there is this perceived hierarchy of authority. Over time, it becomes unbearable to hold. And if you keep it in the body, it becomes sickness. This heat almost feels like a fever. And if you do not release it, if you do not scream and yell and resist and push for change and create, sometimes it leads to creating through destruction, but it's about restoring the balance. So that's also a warning to anyone watching this and listening. If you feel rage, if you feel anger, you have to release it. You have to move your body, write, sing, pray, chant, like scream, do whatever it is that you need to do to express that in a way that allows you to release it. Not in a way to harm, but to honor that emotion. So many of us hold it in, and we see it be so destructive and dangerous when it's used against others, but it is an important and powerful emotion. It has a lot of information within it. And this feels ancient, like it feels so old. It is not just your lived experience, it is an echo of generations before you. There's so much ancestral energy here. This is so deep, you know, but it is just playing out on a global stage right now. A different form, not a new form, just another form. Breathe. For the love of God, please breathe. This collective needs to breathe. Inhale, exhale, feel it. Don't stop feeling it. Do not suppress this feeling. You have to feel. It's coming to a head so much right now because there's been such a suppression of this feeling. The oppressed person can only allow it so long, whether that's on a social, cultural, political scale, or personal. But it's like definitely getting to this point of resistance and change. All right, yeah. Giddy up, bitches. Sorry. Okay, first of all, you know that the wheel has turned and that things are changing, and there is truly no going back to how things were. And I say that, and I'm going to speak to this on a personal level, and you can allow this to, you can also take this and use this on a cultural, social, political level that we're seeing right now, but I'm going to talk to you as an individual because we are all a part of this conscious collective, and what we feel is being mirrored back to us on a greater scale. You are being asked to come back to yourself and your own energy right now, because that is where your power is. And there's a very important thing for you to understand and to know, and you will only hear it and feel it when you allow yourself to be quiet and to go within and to ask for guidance. There are messages all around you. You've been given them, you've been noticing them, but it's just becoming more and more obvious. And now intuitively you are feeling called even more to pay attention and take back your energy so that you can, with the intention and the purpose of you being fully embodied as you move forward. And there is quite a lot of momentum that's coming, moving into this week, the last week of January 2026. And we have the High Priestess and the Ace of Wands. Come back to your life force energy. Come back to your power. Come back to your creative fire, your inspiration, because that is what is going to burn as you move through death in this change. Death. We are going through it. This has been the theme over the past month, and it is continuing. But it's not, death is not here to stop us. It is a recognition. This is honestly a conscious understanding that the way that we've been doing things is no longer sustainable. We've outgrown that. We are outgrowing versions of ourselves, parts of ourselves, and we are being reborn, death and rebirth. You are not lost. You are not, your power is not being stripped away from you. You are asked to reignite and relearn, refamiliarize yourself with what it means for you to be in your power. And it is a quiet knowing in a power. This is very intuitive. You have to give yourself the time to rest and to tune in and to listen to your inner knowing, and you have to now put it into action. That is the energy of this week, because it is moving fast. This is where you're going to start to feel momentum, even more so if you haven't already. And there's fear here, but it's almost like this is the edge of your comfort zone. This is you moving away from feelings of not being enough, of lack, of being left out in the cold, of not having what you need to succeed. That is the fear. That is not the truth. And that is what you are navigating through. And if that has been the fear that has been holding you back, or you've been processing, consciously or not, over time, it is almost undeniable now. You can't unsee it now. And even though you're scared, you're being encouraged to move anyway, to make that action and that choice anyway. There is this window of time that is open, and you have to resist your fear, not yourself, but the fear, that because it's a lie, it's not true. The Wheel of Fortune is here telling me that things are shifting. This is also out of our control. This is outside influences that are shifting dynamics for us. And how we respond is what is in our control, and how you're being encouraged to show up is in your power. Empress energy, divine, feminine energy, rising. Hello. There's so much power in these cards right here. It's not brute force. It's not how hard you can push. This is how much do you know yourself, and how much do you trust yourself to take that leap and to make that change, to create that shift, and to really confront this fear of lack, because that is what is keeping you held back and keeping you like playing small when you are meant to do so much more. And now you're being called to step outside of your comfort zone, and you have to. There's no going back now. What does this pertain to? Why is death here? Holy moly. Hierophant and the Fool. Old structures, old beliefs, old programmings are done. They have to change. You have to change your mind. You have to change your mind about things because it's not been serving you. All of these decisions and beliefs that you have, it's almost like this realization that some of them have really limited you from expansion. Also, it feels like there's this death is more gentle, or it can be gentle, but what feels so challenging is the ego is getting in the way. There's been a lot of beliefs that you've built your life around. There's a lot of things that you chose to believe in, or were told to believe in, that influenced your identity and how you showed up. And that is changing. And this change actually, while it feels uncomfortable, it actually feels like there's opportunity for it to be gentle once you can kind of offer yourself some of this compassion and understand that as you move forward, you will be successful. There's more for you. outside of your comfort zone and outside of your bubble. This fear of lack, this belief that you don't have enough or that you won't, that is the belief that has to end. And wherever that is, that might be generational. You know, it's old, it echoes. Why is the 5 of coins here? Yeah. This is old, and this is through, lack has been learned through heartache and disappointment. This is old, this is not new. This is like old wounds that are reopening now. There's been, whether it's old wounds that have been triggered or that you're replaying in your mind, this is LURPs, right? Those long-lasting, recurring, painful patterns that inform our belief systems have made us believe that we must not be enough or have enough to be able to move forward. And we've learned these through connections, we've learned these through relationships, we've learned these, it's been mirrored back to us by the people around us, but also there's this energy of wanting more. There has to be more for me out there. And so you navigating your mind to move away from these challenging thought patterns allows you to open up a whole new perspective, a whole new beginning. And it does feel like there's like noise and competition around you that could be triggering this as well. There's conflict. Sometimes that conflict is necessary for you to assert a boundary, for you to be heard, especially if you haven't set those boundaries before. And so it can be uncomfortable for you to rise, for you to step outside of your comfort zone, for you to be more embodied in your power, to ask for reciprocity, to demand reciprocity, to demand autonomy, and to just allow yourself to take up more space in your life. It can make people uncomfortable. Sometimes people are really used to you being accommodating or playing small or participating in the conflict and the noise. And truly, and maybe that validated something within you at one point, but that story is no longer accessible. It's old, it's ending. Why is a Chariot here? There are a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of ways that things can go. And the Chariot is asking you to align your head and your heart, to choose a path and to choose it with leadership, especially when there's so many options. Choose with confidence. That's what you're being asked to do, and to commit to it, and know that you have what you need. Magician at the bottom of the deck, you have everything that you need to bring it into reality, to call it in. You simply have to choose. The Magician is also about choice. If you have not been making a decision, or resisting making a decision for yourself, or waiting for other people to make decisions for you, or waiting for answers, this week you will hear that knowing quite clearly. You will know the direction to take, and even if it feels confusing or there's a lot of options, you know. So allow yourself to continue, or to start really making those moves toward that goal, toward that path. Choose a path and allow it to be a path that honors you, and you'll know it honors you if you are showing up in this energy of releasing these patterns of lack, these patterns rooted in lack, and choosing more for yourself, choosing reciprocity and expansion, choosing connection, choosing yourself and what feels good and honors you. What is this Ace of Wands? What is this? Resistance, defending yourself. Yeah, this is new energy that is rising from a period of resistance and not making a decision, of defending yourself and kind of keeping your energy closed off. But this is really inspiration rooted in your legacy, your wealth, your abundance. The opposite of lack. Not choosing is a choice, but is not one that you could be able to continue to make moving into this week. But the choice is still yours. Do you want to play small, or do you want more? And you're being called to choose more, because that's what is actually in alignment with you and who you are becoming. Your growing intuition and your embodied wisdom, your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual autonomy is in alignment with this. You're meant for this. You're meant for abundance and security and legacy and wealth and security. You're meant for it. And so you are choosing the path that is forcing you to become that. And there is this burning. It does feel uncomfortable, but it also feels liberating. There's something in the fire, there's something in the death that is re-energizing. Why is the Wheel of Fortune here? Yeah, and so moving forward, the wheel is turning you and asking you to be really discerning too about how you show up in the collective, how you show up and who shows up for you in the collective. This is about being discerning of your social groups and making sure that the people around you are also in alignment with you. It's more important now than ever to be in the company of those that support you and see your growth and want the best for you and have the same goals as you, or are connected to their abundance as well. And it's not to say that we can't support and be around the people in our lives that feel disconnected to that. We have to lead to that. And that might mean discerning and causing boundaries and making sure that we have the social, emotional space to feel supported. Now more than ever, it's important. We're seeing it on a global scale as well. Be mindful of people around you that are controlling and calling the shots as well. What advice or guidance do you have for the collective this week? What advice or guidance do you have for the collective this week, Spirit? Okay, it's interesting. There's this energy here that suggests that as you make a choice, make some of these choices internally first. Keep some of this to yourself as you move forward. We have Seven of Swords, the Lovers, and the Strength card at the bottom of the deck. This is advice for us. So it feels like this is not necessarily for the sake of being deceptive or sneaky, but for self-protection and preservation. You're kind of being asked to keep your cards close to your chest and to navigate these realizations, these decisions, and these changes. Keep them within yourself at this time. Have some inner restraint as you navigate this choice, because it does feel big, and I think that's because you don't want other people to influence these decisions and choices that you're making, because these are transformative and it has to be within you. As you make that choice, it might even be you navigating which choice to make still this week, because there is this taking stock and asking yourself what's worth investing in, and I think that becomes more clear this week. And so you're going to notice, just allow your energy to shift and truly focus on the things that you want to focus on. So not announcing it to the world yet what this is all a part of, but you just participating in that shift for yourself, letting it ripple through your work, your focus, your dedication, how you're using your time, money, energy, and resources this week. But also try to bring in some curiosity, some playfulness, some levity, because there's a new beginning here. There's new projects, be in this exploratory energy. It doesn't have to be so serious. It doesn't have to be it's not detrimental. So infuse this, take this wand energy, this spark energy, and start to play with it. Be curious and exploratory, while also keeping some things to yourself. People will notice and see. Probably they'll notice how you're shifting your energy and your focus, and that's okay. There's not like a fully formed plan here yet, but there is a participating in a new self, in a new reality, in a new mindset, and start to allow the energy to rise and to move, and continue to choose it from a place of love. That's what the Lovers card always asks us. When it comes to choices, big pivotal choices in our lives, are we making a choice from love, or are we choosing it from fear? Lack is in the vibration of fear, and we are being called forward to make choices from love and abundance. So participate in your joy this week, even if it feels heavy and challenging. But that energy, that transmigration, that death, that change, that rebirth comes from love. That rebirth comes from making empowered choices that honor you. Because when you honor yourself, you honor everyone else, especially when you're making choices from a place of love. You got this. A little fortitude needed this week. If you are feeling this change within you and you need support, if you need space to be held for you, you can find me at Becoming Home Healing Co. I have sessions. My books are open this week. Moving into February, my client bookings are going to be limited to nights and weekends as I navigate some changes of my own. So that does not limit me to who I can see or how often I can see you. It just allows me to create a really intentional container for you that not only honors you, but honors me as well. I love doing this work. I love tapping into the collective energy, but I also love connecting with you on an individual level to understand what you're working through and to support you through that, to teach you to co-create a mindset and a plan for you that works for you and what you want and where you're going, so you can have the things that you want in life. You can feel empowered, and you can feel well rested, and you can feel happy, because you deserve that. And when it's hard, even when there's a world outside of you that challenges that, your truth remains. Let me know if you resonated with this message below in the comments, and I will see you here next week. Please take it easy, and I will see you next time.